Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, family and friends. We are back again. So hope everybody had a good Thanksgiving, a good holiday. Hope you had a chance to see my video on how to deal with MAGA family members during the holidays. But anyway, on to today's news. Over the weekend, a few developments happened. And part of this is going to go to show you why education matters, why MAGA and Trump wants to get rid of the Department of Education so that you don't know and understand what's going on, okay? So check this out. Over the weekend, Trump was talking about what he was going to do as far as, medical pricing, how the subsidies, getting rid of the subsidies is going to increase medical pricing. So this guy goes on and says that he has just signed an executive order that is going to make companies give 500% off drug price coverages, right? First of all, you can't make them give 500% discount. Second of all, what he did was he basically asked them to. Okay, he can't tell them to do anything. It's capitalism, remember? But let me do some math for you. If you really believe that Trump is going to get you 500% off of your drugstore or, your drug prices, medicines, a $10 bottle of ibuprofen, let's just use simple math here, $10 bottle of ibuprofen. If you got 500% off, you would get paid $40 for getting that bottle of ibuprofen. See, the math ain't mathing. And he just says stuff, lies right out the side of his neck, and MAGA folks just eat it up like they have no education to think 500% off. Well, wait a second. Carry the 1 plus 2 divided by 3. Anyway, the other story. Republicans resigning from Congress. Apparently, this is now going to be a trend after Marjorie Taylor Greene. Some Congress people said they are not running for re-election. Okay? So technically, they haven't resigned. They're just not running for re-election at the midterms. Now, you could say it's because they think that they're going to lose. Some of them, yeah, probably would. But that's not the real reason. Now, understand, I'm not psychic, but I make some pretty good guesses. And I have a really strong suspicion that the reason these guys are saying that they're not going to run for re-election is because they've been MAGA this whole time. They've been Trump supporters this whole time. And when the Epstein files continue to come out, it's going to look bad. Now, I'm not saying Trump actually grabbed little girls by the punani. Wouldn't surprise me, but I'm not saying that he did that. What I am saying is that he has admitted that he banned Epstein from Mar-a-Lago because why? Because he was a bad dude and he kept taking girls out of Mar-a-Lago. So if you thought he was a bad dude and he was taking girls from your private golf club, what'd you think he was doing with those girls, Donald Trump? You knew what he was doing with those girls, and that's why you said he was a bad dude, which means you've known all this many years that he was up to no good, and you've known all these years that the people that have hung out with you and with him, taking donations from him and all these other people that are potentially molesters, that is going to look really bad for not only Donald Trump, but anybody that kept supporting him and the people that did not want the Epstein files coming out. It's because they knew. That, ladies and gentlemen, is why some of these folks are bowing out, because they knew and they supported him anyway. They supported him for their own selfish reasons, thinking that as long as we can get away with it, as long as Trump hides it, as long as he keeps these files in the dark, we'll be able to keep getting away with this stuff. Well, that which is in the darkness shall come to light. Don't let them off the hook. Don't let none of these Trump supporters off the hook. They knew. They knew and they didn't say anything. They didn't say anything about the perpetrators. They didn't try to bring the perpetrators to justice. They knew, and they let it slide. That's why some of these folks are trying to jump ship, because they're trying to get away from that right there. The fact that you knew that this bad stuff was happening to these little girls, you knew the people that were doing it, and you let it slide. That, ladies and gentlemen, is the reason. Anyway, thank you guys for watching my video. Matter of fact, feel free to comment. If you agree, disagree, put a like, whatever the case may be. This is on Facebook, so it doesn't really count. If you really like it, go to YouTube and put a like on there for me there. All right, guys. Y'all have a good afternoon.